Hi, my name is Adriana Gonzalez and I'm sponsored by the Office of Student Success located in Building B. And today we're going to talk about 6 easy steps that you can learn and use to writing an effective essay, really. And I hope it works for you. It should. It's very simple. Let's get started. So the first step in preparing your Accuplacer essay is to read your essay carefully. You're going to ask yourself, what is your essay telling you? And you're also going to ask yourself, what is your essay asking of you? Okay, so this is a sample essay from an Accuplacer test, tip test taking booklet. And we're going to look at what it's asking us and what it's telling us. Okay, now the first thing that it does is it tells us something. Okay, so this is the telling part. Now, if you should want to read this on your own, just pause the video and read it word for word, okay, to have a better understanding of what this essay is about. Now, the second thing it does here is it asks us something. Now, the asking part is probably the most important part. Why? Because you want to read it and make sure that what it's asking you for is what you're going to reproduce in your essay, okay? Because if you don't answer the questions that the essay is asking you, regardless of how good your essay is, it's not valid. Okay, so it's asking you to take a position on whether video games are a valuable activity or simply a waste of time. It wants you to use arguments as well as examples to support your position. Okay, and for the sake of my example, I'm going to choose that it's simply a waste of time. Okay. Now, the second part or second step to writing your essay is your brainstorming of ideas. Now, this is the most important part because it cuts out a lot of time that you might spend maybe getting stuck in an essay because you don't know in which direction is going. So this is really going to help you cut that time. Okay, so I'm thinking that, now these are just my opinions, okay, that I'm thinking that video games are violent, that they are a waste of time, that they're addictive, they're influential, detrimental to health, and that they are wrong, that it is wrong if a parent is buying a video game as a babysitter to buy love. Now, let's zoom into one of these brainstorming ideas, okay? Let's look at violence alone here. Okay, so in my brainstorming, what I'm going to do is I'm specifying that video games are violent. Why? Because they contain weapons, swearing, and explicit content, okay? I'm also going to, in my brainstorming, want to remind myself or tell myself that I can provide examples of such video games so that when I'm actually writing my essay, I have that to fall back on. I can remind myself and say, that's right, I can provide those examples to back that up. Now, the third thing that I want to do, or that you want to do when you write your essay, is sift and pick your ideas. Again, a very important part. Sifting is when you read each brainstorm idea and ask yourself which ideas are relevant and which ones are not. You also ask yourself, which ideas do I have the most and the least to write about, okay? And this is important because you want to pick the ideas that are, for one, the most relevant and that you have the most to write about so that you have a better chance of meeting the 300 to 500 minimum word goal in your Accuplacer writing essay. Okay, now the second thing you want to do is pick the ideas that best respond to that essay. And that again is important because if you, regardless of how good your essay is, if you don't write, if you don't respond to the essay in a manner of which it's actually responding to what it's asking you, then what they're going to do is it's not going to be a good grade for you. In other words, what I'm really trying to say is you have a better chance of scoring higher on your Accuplacer if you choose ideas that respond well to what they're asking of you versus just writing about any opinion that you feel strong about. Okay, it has to be relevant to your essay. Now, the fourth thing you want to do is group and order your ideas. Okay, now again, these are my brainstormed ideas. I'm looking at this now and I'm realizing that this is somewhat irrelevant to my essay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch that out, okay? Better that I catch it now than to be stuck on it later as I'm writing my essay, okay? So I'm going to be grouping and ordering my ideas, okay? So how I want to do this is I'm going to look at the bolded wording right here and ask myself, how can I put these ideas together? Well, I can say that violence goes together with influence, right? Because the more violent something is, the more influence it has on somebody, and therefore there are consequences for it. I can say that the more addictive something is, the more detrimental that particular action will have to your health, right? And I can list that on its own because that doesn't really go with anything. Waste of time and energy, that's sort of a category on its own. So I've got my ones, I've got my twos, and I've got my number three, okay? That's how I'm grouping and ordering my ideas. Okay, so now that we figured out how to group and order our ideas, we're going to look at how we're going to plug and choose our ideas into an outline. This is very simple. Remember, this was our number one, our number two, and our number three, right? Our points, that was the order that we ordered them in, 1, 2, and 3, okay? So now what we're simply doing is we're taking violent influence and we're creating a whole section in our essay regarding that matter. Our number 2 is over here, detrimental to health, and see, I'm just bringing this down to number 3 like so, right? Okay, so then this information here corresponds and supports that information, as well as this supports this information here, and that supports that. Okay, now that's how to do an outline. I'm still not using complete sentences, okay? There are no periods. These are just sort of like incomplete thoughts, but main ideas at the same time, okay? Now, next thing we're going to look at is the conclusion, okay? In our conclusion, we're going to I'm going to remind the reader that I'm against video games. Now, you might have a different opinion on that. I'm also going to let the reader know why they should be against video games, and, you know, let's throw that to protect their child. Who doesn't want to protect their child nowadays? And my third opinion is to let parents know they should take a video game out of, should take video games out of their homes if they agree, okay? So this goes a little bit beyond just sort of summarizing in 1 or 2 sentences what my essay was about. I also added a little extra, you know, other than just being against it, what can I do about it now, right? How can I warn my parents? What can I ask them to do, okay? So the sixth step is to actually create your essay, and you want to keep in mind to follow the order of your outline, as well as use examples, personal experiences, descriptions, and details to support your ideas. And you want to use transitional words such as although, additionally, furthermore, and use transitional sentences to connect your ideas and also to strengthen the relevancy of your ideas for a smoother read. Okay, now in summary, we talked about reading your essay carefully. We talked about brainstorming your ideas, sift and picking your best, most relevant ideas, grouping and ordering your ideas, plugging your chosen ideas into an outline, and lastly, creating your essay using examples, descriptions, and personal experiences. So that concludes our 6 easy steps to preparing an essay tutorial, and my name is Adriana Gonzalez, and I'm sponsored by the Office of Student Success. We encourage you to come see us for any questions you might have on your essays or anything, some proofreading that you might need and whatnot. We're located in Building B, and I wish you luck on your essay. Thank you.